Hi. Welcome to If Then Fridays. And I don't know what happened. 1 week apples and 1 week peaches. I don't know. I don't know. So hey, it is the D. Louise Book Space, where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy sminchy stuff going on here. Maybe we'll see what happens. I can get a picture of peaches, but I've got peaches. I don't know. You like some peaches with your books? We got some peaches. I think. Do I have the same book? I wanted to double check. No, the cover looks similar. But anyways, so let's get to it with some peaches. A dash of peach. One bright morning, her friend Michelle Chan pays her a visit and tells her that a strange man has been poisoned by her famous pie. Of course, Mama Peach wants nothing more than to find the culprit, but it's a lot harder than it looks. As Michelle and Mama's investigation goes on, more bodies begin to drop. Mama Peach and her loved ones are threatened by a dangerous killer with an agenda. It's up to the two ladies to keep the town folk safe from a murderer whose roots go deeper than either of them could imagine. The Peach Rebellion. Ginny Rose and Peggy were best friends at 7, picking peaches on hot summer days. Peggy's family owned the farm, and Ginny Rose were pickers escaping the Oklahoma dust storms that didn't matter to them. But now, 10 years and hard miles and a World War later, Ginny Rose's family is back in town, and their differences feel somewhat starker now, especially since Peggy's new best friend, Lizette, is a wealthy banker's daughter. Still, there's no denying what these girls have in common, families with great fissures that are about to break wide open. So when Ginny Rose imagines a radical plan to try to heal the rift in her family, these three not quite friends come together to see it through. Hi. And what did I do with your bed? Oh, there it is. Put it back up there. So anyways, this one I seem to have chosen twice. So, Peach Blossom Spring. It's 1938 in China, and Meline, a young wife, has a bright future. But when the Japanese army approaches, Meline and her 4-year-old son, Rensu, are forced to flee their home, relying on little but their wits and beautiful illustrated hand scroll filled with the ancient fables that offer solace and wisdom. They must travel through a ravaged country seeking refuge. Years later, Rensu has settled in America as Harry Doe. Though his daughter Lily is desperate to understand her heritage, she refuses to talk about his childhood. How can he keep his family safe in the new land when the weight of the past threatens to drag them down? Yet how can Lily learn who she is if she can never know her family's term? Spanning continents and generations, Peach Blossom Spring is a bold and moving book at the history of modern China, told through the eyes of one family. Hi. And I don't have another duplicate. Okay. Southern Peach Pie and the Dead Guy. After an injury derails Poppy Peters' ballet career, she gathers the courage to follow in her grandmother's footsteps and attend Cali Pastry Academy in a small town in Georgia. Poppy has her work cut out for her, not only filling in her charming and not so charming Southern classmates, but also proving her worth to the teachers after her first publicity humiliating attempt at making the school's Southern Peach Pie. But Poppy's pastry problems go from bad to worse when she's suddenly accused of stealing expensive black truffles, and her attempt to clear her name goes away, resulting in her finding a dead body instead. If Poppy's going to survive this culinary experience, she'll need to find the missing truffles and track down a killer, all the while honing her baking skills. Go for it. Oh, don't I have this one? I thought I had this one. I guess I don't. Peach Cobbler murder. As she sits in her nearly empty bakery on Groundhog Day, Hannah Swenson can only hope that spring is just around the corner, and the popularity of the new Magnolia Blossom Bakery is just a passing fad. The southern hospitality of Lake Eden's two Georgia transplants, Shauna Lee and Vanessa Quinn, is grating on Hannah's nerves and cutting into her profits at the cookie jar. At least Hannah has her business partner Lisa's wedding to look forward to. Unfortunately, Shauna Lee has finagled an invitation to the reception and is bringing her southern peach cobbler for the dessert table. Things go bad to worse when Shauna Lee and Hannah's sometime boyfriend, Detective Mike Kingston, are no-shows at the wedding. When Hannah sees light at the Magnolia Blossom Bakery after the reception, she investigates. She finds Shauna Lee shot to death. Everyone in town knew the cookie jar's business was suffering, a fact that Hannah puts atop of the initial list of suspects. But with the help from friends, Hannah's determined to track down whoever did it. Let's find out. And I think there's... So then we have The Secret Life of Peaches. I saw this and I'm like, teenage angst. Teenage angst. After a magical summer living on a peach orchard, Murphy, Lita, and Bertie confront a series of breakup, makeups, and takeoffs. They may have to leave one another along with the orchard that brought them together, but despite their heartbreak, this year's bittersweet ending could lead to the sweetest of new beginnings. Smoke! She's over there screaming. Ain't she a peach? Molly Harper. You know, I think of Molly Harper, I think of vampires. Frankie McCready talks to the dead people, not like a ghost whisperer or anything, but it seems rude to embalm them and not at least say hello. Fortunately, at the McCready family funeral home and bait shop, Frank's entrance cities fit right in. She's Lake Sackett's embalmer and only county coroner, and Frank's goth style and passion for nerd culture means she's not your typical Southern girl. But the McCready are hardly your typical Southern family. In Lake Sackett, everyone looks out for one another, which usually means getting up in everyone else's business. Maybe that's why Frankie is so fascinated by new Sheriff Eric Linden, a recent transplant from Atlanta. He sees a homicide in every hunting accident or boat crash, which seems a little paranoid for the sleepy tourist town. But when the funeral home is subject to a series of mysterious break-ins, Frankie and Eric must team up to catch their man and uncover the secrets they thought were buried forever. Cute. Georgia peaches, forbidden fruit. It's going to be take a miracle for Joanna Gordon to get through senior year. Despite being the daughter of a well-known radio evangelist, Jo has never hidden the fact that she's gay, and her dad has always supported her. But that was back in Atlanta. Now her dad, the Reverend, has married wife number 3, and they've all moved to small town Rome, Georgia. When Joe's dad asks her to lie low for the rest of the year in hopes that it will help him and his new wife settle in, Joe reluctantly agrees. Although when God closes a closet door, he opens a window. Everything becomes so easy for Joe once she rebrands herself as a straight girl. No one gives her odd looks. Her new step family likes her. She even gets in with the popular crowd. And that's how she meets Mary Carlson, the ultimate temptation. Even though Jo knows this girl is completely off limits, she just can't get her out of her mind. But Jo could possibly think of breaking her promise to her dad, even if Jo's starting to fall for Mary Carlson. But is Mary Carlson interested in her? Can't spit the words out today. The Peach Keeper. In the dubious distinction of the 30-year-old Willa Jackson to hail from a fine old Southern family of means that met with financial ruin generations ago, the Blue Ridge Madam, built by Willa's great-great-grandfather during Walls of Water heyday, and the once the town's grandest home, has stood for years as a lonely monument to misfortune and scandal, and Willa herself has long survived to build a life beyond the brooding Jackson family shadow. No easy task in a town shaped by years of tradition and the well marked boundaries between the have and the have nots. But Willa has lately learned that an old classmate socialite do gooder, Paxton Osgood, of the prominent Osgood family, has restored the Blue Ridge Madam to her former glory with plans to top a top flight inn. Maybe at last the troubled past can be laid to rest while something new and wonderful rises from the ashes. But what rises instead is a skeleton found buried beneath the property's lone peach tree, and is certain to drag up dire consequences along with it. For the bones, those of charismatic traveling salesman Tucker Devlin, who worked his charms on walls of water 75 years ago, are not all that lay hidden out of sight and mind. There are other secrets. Anna Gerard, Peaches and Shames. Nana Fleet might be new to the innkeeping business, but she's savvy enough to know that Cymbella's tourists aren't enough to keep her fledgling bread and breakfast going. So Nana decides to tap into the destination wedding market by taking a booth at the Veils and Vanities bridal shop. The twice yearly event is sponsored by the town's two wedding pros, Virgie Hamilton, the 60-something owner of Virgie's Formals, and Roxana's Quarry, the Gen X event planner, and Nina's new friend. But everything goes wrong during the Expo's fashion show when Roxana comes tumbling out of an oversized prop wedding cake, strangled to death by her own scarf. Virgie is arrested for the crime thanks to Nina's statement to the police about having overheard the woman accusing a partner of embezzlement. Meanwhile, the situation grows tense with her something nemesis and current tenant, the dashing out of work actor Harry Westcott. Harry is concentrating on plugging his most recent side hustle, but he's not too busy to break the news to Nina that her ex-husband is engaged to be married again. Certain that Virgie's only defense is a bad temper, Nina decides to do her own investigation. First, she and Harry retrieve Roxana's new ownerless dog, planning to foster him until a new home can be found. But local gossip soon convinces Nina that others besides Virgie might have had reasons to murder Roxana. As Nina gets close to the truth, she puts her own life in danger, and when Virgie vanishes after being bailed out of jail by an unknown benefactor, Nina fears that if she can't find the dress shop owner in time, she might be dead. You need some tea? We have some tea. Laura Childs, peach tea. Smash. A black tie fundraiser for the Opera Society is being held at historic Old Gristmill. But amid crumbling walls, shadowy paths, neon Cheshire cats, and a host of masked revelers, a prominent Charleston banker is murdered. Not only does Team Maven Theodosia Browning discover the body, but the newly minted widow begs her to help find her husband's killer. Theodosia is hesitant at first, but when the police seem content to question only the opera's board of directors, she launches her own shadow investigation and discovers bitter rivals, strange coincidences, and long forgotten secrets. We gotta find who did it. And our last one. It's a little close on titles. I thought I had the same book twice, but it's not. It's two different books. To help run the family peach farm during her parents' absence, Nola May Harper returns to her childhood home of Case Mill, Georgia, and soon discovers that things back at the farm aren't exactly peachy. A poor harvest and rising costs are threatening to ruin the Harpers' livelihood, and small-town gossip is spreading like a blink, thanks to Nola's juicy reputation as a wild teenager way back when. But Nola finds herself in the pits when she stumbles upon a local businessman murdered among the peach trees. Oops. And then there's your peaches. Let's see. Let's see. There's one of these with apples. because I know I've tried the one with apples. I just saw it and I'm never gonna find it again. Figures. Let's see if I can find it. See if we can. Well, how about some peach pie? Or let's see if I can find that other one. It might not. It might have been a different page than I was looking at. But we can look. How about some peach iced tea? And I had it and I lost it. I lost it. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I can't find it, but I have a question for you. So, I was going to suggest that you read Joanna Fluke's Peach Cobbler Murder and then do a peach cobbler thing. But there's no peach cobbler thing in here. It's only the peach cobbler with the blueberries. There's no peach cobbler in a peach book. I looked, and I may be looking in the wrong place. I looked under peach, and I looked under cobbler, and it's only the blueberry thing. So I don't understand how come a peach book doesn't have a peach cobbler person. You probably can just leave the blueberries out. I'm just saying. So, you gonna read you some peaches? And maybe eat you some peaches? You have a good one.